Hey everyone! Today I'm joined by Juice and DeltaNeverUsed. We're here to discuss their new world, Magnetize, which was nominated for Best Immersive World in this year's Raindance Immersive Festival. Juice, Delta, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah,
Oh.
happy to be here.
Can you tell me a little bit about yourselves?
I'm a 35-year-old guy living alone. I do web development as a day job. My VRC projects are probably the most exciting thing I've got going on these days. I do like MoGraph. When opportunities come up, I mess around with like construction projects, woodworking, crafty things.
I'm Delta. I'm 17. I make things sometimes. I do programming, and I did the programming for all the systems in this world. This world doesn't really use any, or it doesn't use any of the VRChat object sync stuff for synchronization. It uses my own system that I made for syncing stuff in groups of people, so that don't have the issue of new players joining at the beginning, having all the puzzles completed.
A while back, and I want to say like November of last year, you and I were talking about like magnet shaders, and you just made one, and that was kind of the kicking off point for the whole project, where I focused mainly on like the design, and I know a little bit of script work, but like you pretty much took that and rolled with it. For you got to give yourself credit, like the Fizzvolver system, like the way to telekinetically grab all that stuff. You did a lot of the shaders, and I don't know, the world wouldn't quite be what it is without all that extra effort behind the scenes. Like it may not be visual, like people may not necessarily see it, but hopefully they feel it. It really it makes the world what it is. It gives it all that interaction. And then for my part, design.
What led you both to become world creators?
For me, it was kind of a creative outlet. My day job being like front end web dev is fine, but most of what I do on a daily basis is like maintenance. When 5 p.m. rolls around and I've got free time to just open up Blender and start making stuff, it's a really nice creative outlet. And VR chat and learning Unity over the last year or two have just kind of enhanced that. And I gotta say, there's something really spectacular about being able to make a thing, like just being here. It's cool. It's cool to just stand in a thing that I had made.
I kind of started off with messing with the animators for VRChat avatars before I really started doing any world stuff. And then I just kind of like wanted to see how Udon and stuff was, so just kind of started messing with the worlds, as well as having a little bit of an excuse for learning Unity.
When creating worlds, what tools do you prefer to use?
Based on like kind of my career path, I have a bit of knowledge in a lot of different design software. But yeah, there's like a wide range of tools that I will use for this sort of thing. If somebody's like, you're going to be stranded on a desert office and you can only have 3 softwares, it would be Photoshop, Blender, and Unity.
Well, Unity, of course, kind of a requirement for making anything VRChat. But then there's JetBrains Rider, which is a program that I really like. And thank you to the VRChat community meetup for giving away keys to JetBrains Rider.
I'll interject a little something here, if I may.
Sure.
VS Code. I didn't even think about that, but there's plenty of code that goes into VRChat as well, or at least using the SDK, dealing with just Udon Sharp scripts. It sure is nice to have a good text editor, and for me, it's VS Code. It sounds like for you, it's the JetBrains editor.
Yeah.
What is the world Magnetize really all about?
In the past, I've asked people like what they thought the experience was, and I've heard a number of different things, but it always seems to come back to, and frankly, it comes back to kind of a thing I agree with. The idea is, in a few words, a nostalgic daydream, and that works. That pretty well sums it up. But yeah, ultimately, it's a lot of nostalgia. It's very surreal, and nostalgic daydream, I think, sums it up really well. It's just for a little bit of humor in there for anyone watching who is familiar with the term scope creep. This let's just put Magnetize under that definition. Like this world definitely, it was a project started with like 0 deadlines, no rules, nothing. We're just like, let's just we got these concepts. Let's build on that. And before we knew it, we had like this whole sprawling system going.
Who or what are your main inspirations behind this work?
I imagine there's plenty of inspiration just coming from my own personal nostalgia, thinking back to some of the movies I saw, anywhere between like the early '90s to the 2000s. You just going through the world, you'd see a lot of those references. Thinking about like my own grandmother's house, going into her basement, like I based it on that nostalgia, like the green shag carpet, the ugly couch, the gigantic tube TV, the Atari sitting there. Like that was it. So there's where a lot of that inspiration came from. The surreal concepts, I would shout out to Dr. Moreau, who did Organism, just because that world really stretched the possibilities in VR chat in ways that a lot of people really hadn't done quite yet.
This world has a very playful way of representing perspective and scale. Can you tell us what influenced that?
There's two different angles to this. One is like the whole Fizzvolver concept sort of changes the dynamic of how you play through the world. I really wanted to like push boundaries and make some really strange environments. So I think that is where I guess the concept of more playful and strange perspectives come into play. I didn't want to just do like another strictly like by the books, this is how an environment is built type of world. And then Delta again, Fizzvolver, being able to like grab stuff from a distance. The way you interact is just different. A bit of a. I'm looking at you, VR chat. Co-authoring, please. We want co-authoring. The fact that I uploaded it kind of detracts from the amount of effort that Delta has put into it, and it'd be nice to see, to just be able to acknowledge that a little more.
I would love to hear more about the mechanics that you developed specifically for this world. You made them yourself, right?
Everything except the video player. The whole syncing people in groups I mainly wanted, I think, because it's a little bit of a puzzle world. Kind of suck to join a public world, have all the puzzles solved already, but it also kind of suck to not be able to complete them with your friends instead of everything being local. Kind of a trade-off. So I decided to basically just remake the whole BRC object sync so that I could sync objects and events and stuff in little groups of people instead of everyone or no one.
The things that you've made, half of it you've just got out there for anyone to take a look at and use, and I think that's really worthwhile, and I hope people show some interest in those things. In a way, this is art, and I'm totally fine with people interpreting it however they want. And it's kind of a cool moment too when you are making something and you're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and it's going well, but nothing is like set in stone, and then all of a sudden it kind of does come together and the concept forms. It's like, oh, that's what I've been making this whole time, and I'm only now realizing it. But yeah, realistically, as with most art, it's up to anyone's interpretation, however they want to interpret it. Like,
how can people find you?
You can join my group in VR chat. It is called the Cotton Collective. You should be able to just search that in the group tab.
You can find me on Discord or GitHub under same name, DeltaNeverUsed. Also have a Gumroad with Fizzvolver on it, which is also under the same name.
Well, friends, thank you so much for your time today. I really, really appreciate you showing me the world, and I can't wait for everyone to get to see it this year's Raindance.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Yeah.